I just do it because people think it's hilarious.
They do think it's hilarious. Ciao, buongiorno ragazzi. Thank you very much for joining us for what feels like forever since I've done a podcast, and it feels like even longer since I've seen my two homeboys over here. So it is actually a really, really big pleasure to be able to be joined from the early hours of the morning, my friend Mario Gagliano. How are you, bro? Nice jersey. Really nice.
Yo, what's up?
And our boy Christian Rivas as well from DC. How are you, brother?
I'm living life looking at Mario over there eating a bag of Lay's baked potato chips. That's healthy. Ooh, Palermo.
What are you eating as well? What are you eating?
Gushers. Your 7-Eleven exclusive.
Baked barbecue Lay's, the GOAT.
Nice one.
Nah, Cape Cod potato chips are better.
In terms of things that are good at the moment, besides the packets of chips and the sweets in the United States, the Italian national team has just started to make waves on a competitive front properly. World Cup qualifiers, Euro coming up. I did a tier list with our friend Uncle Sharma on his channel as well, a video I really enjoyed doing, so go and check that out if you haven't seen that. But I'm going to ask the boys here what they think, both Azzurri fans as well. 2 games done under the belt, 2 wins. Very nice Italia jumper, Christian Rivas. The latest result was against Bulgaria, 2-0, a game that Italy wasn't so comfortable in. But there was a fixture before that as well, and I've already forgotten who it was against. Who was the first game against? I know we play Lithuania next. It was only a couple of days ago as well. Mario or Christian, can anyone fact check me quickly? For some reason I thought it was Georgia, but I don't think it's Georgia.
Yeah, no, it wasn't Georgia. It was who we played last. I think it was Northern Ireland.
Yeah, it was Northern Ireland. It was Northern Ireland. Cool. No wonder it was ringing a bell when we were talking about it off camera before, Mario, Northern Ireland. So, Northern Ireland, we beat them. And then apparently Northern Ireland went and played a friendly against the USA national team, which didn't work out so well because the players that played for the USA national team that were repping that friendly missed out on their duty for the Olympic Cup qualifier against Honduras, which they got pumped in. And now they ain't going to the Olympics again. 3rd time in a row. So, I'm going to stop talking right now. I'm going to go over to Christian Rivas, who just raw, off-scripted, is just going to talk international football for a little bit. Freestyle thing.
So we're going to talk about the Olympic team for the U.S. You got to understand a lot of those younger players that are on the national team, your Sergio Dest, your McKinney's, your Pulisic, they're not with the U23 team because they're playing for the national team. Thank God, because there's a resurgence in the U.S. men's national team. Missed out on the last World Cup. What do you expect? It was about time. I'm not bitter about missing out on the Olympics. Fair game to Honduras. That first goal was just an absolute screamer. It was a ridiculous cross. I mean, it wasn't like a complete banger, but if you appreciate good crosses, it was a nice switch with a nice header and then a just nice clean finish. Italy, again, bossed Northern Ireland 2-0. Again, Bulgaria 2-0. Just 2 smooth victories there. And then again, we got Lithuania coming up. Should beat them in match day 3 of the qualifiers. And yeah, it'll be nice to see that.
It will be nice to see that, man. And like I dare say, we've seen Italy put really good performances together in their Euro qualifiers. But coming up in these World Cup qualifiers, I would actually say the team didn't play fantastic against Northern Ireland and Bulgaria. And that makes me happy. It looks like this team barely got out of 3rd gear, let alone 2nd. It was a poor 2-0 victory by our standards, and I like that because this team can be a lot better. Yeah, Mario, what were your thoughts, first of all, before we go back to Christian on the Azzurri's first 2 victories?
I had that game on during at work, and it was just so boring. There was just no life to it. They scored 2 goals. I think one of them was a nice one from Bernadeschi or something like that.
It was Berardi, I think it was. No, that was Northern Ireland.
Berardi, yeah.
Yeah, and then Immobile scored the second one, and it honestly,
I think Belotti scored the first one on a penalty, and Immobile scored the second one. Berardi had the goal against Northern Ireland. Some shit like that.
Yeah, that's what he was talking about. Berardi scored against Northern Ireland. Belotti scored the first one against Bulgaria as a penalty. So you're right, Mario. And Immobile got the second one against Northern Ireland as well.
Regardless, regardless, those three players are people you want to see scoring goals for the national team. Immobile has been criticized. Belotti's always criticized. Berardi's he's never really been in the mix, really, as like a mainstay. So it's good to see him kind of put his name out there. Maybe he'll get more starts because, he's always been a good player, just plagued by injury and misfortune with other players. But it was just boring. It was like a typical Mancini kind of win where the game was just lifeless and you just grind it out of a stupid victory against a stupid team. It's like there wasn't anything special to it. It's like we played with 25 defensive midfielders in the field.
I think in terms of getting motivated for the intensity of these qualifiers, it would be hard as a player, man. You've left your club. You've Christian, mute whatever it is you're doing, bro. Or Mario, whoever's got a TV or something playing in the background.
Oh shit, that's right. I have South Park.
Like, they're lifeless because no crowds, first of all. Second of all, the players would be discussing in their club dressing rooms, how stupid is it that we all need to catch flights to other countries for the next 2.5 weeks and then meet up again and finish a season that we're already pretty much behind on anyway. So I think the motivation is very, very low, and that's why the rotation has been high as well. Like, you saw Mancini rotate pretty heavily between the two performances. He'll rotate even heavier when we go up against Lithuania. Expect to maybe even see Roberto Gagliardini or Castrovilli chucked into the midfield, and they're like bottom feeder midfielders for this squad. I'm not too sure, but
Sensi played.
Sensi did play, and I don't know how to feel about that. When I saw him go on the pitch, I'm like, dude, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you playing for us? And then it made me think, Conte must think to himself, I've gotten our boys in such good shape. I'm not about to risk it for some fragile little fairy who's going to get on the pitch and force a substitution in the 23rd minute. Are those your thoughts, Christian?
Well, I just think that he's probably been healthy for the last month. But, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Who's he going to replace? Eriksson? Like, I like Sensi and all, but you're not taking Eriksson's spot right now, bro. And you're not taking Brozovic's spot, and you're not taking Barrella's spot. Whose spot are you taking? Nobody. You're taking off to the side.
Maybe you get 15 minutes as a sub.
Yeah, maybe.
It's a good sub to have. He's exactly the kind of sub that you'd want to have for us. Let's go back to the national team a bit. Talk about depth. Let's talk about the squad. As I said, I did this awesome tier list video with Raul, Uncle Shama, and we just kept saying throughout the video over and over again, this squad is stacked. We have not seen a squad looking like this. So this is a semi-final squad for the Euros. If the draw is favourable, which it probably won't be, but that's okay. We've had worse in the past. I really think this Italian side can push for the semi-finals and the final. Before we talk expectations, let's talk a bit about the depth. Who would be your starting goalkeeper for the tournament? I think it's pretty obvious, but who would be your reserve goalkeeper, maybe, Mario? So if we're looking at the Italian squad going in, plenty of positions available. Raul and I both said, obviously, Donnarumma is unrivaled for the first spot. Would you dispute that, or who would you put as your second?
Trying to think off the top of my head who's really good. I remember Golini.
I think in the squads that we're going to be taking, I think it was Cranio, Sirigu, and I forget the last one, man. Definitely wasn't
Musa.
He's liked.
No, I think it was Meret, actually.
Meret.
I know it was an M.
Yeah. But I think he was taken in the qualifying squad. That's why he was in our list to put in the tier. But yeah, we didn't even put him in our tier list. We put him as a non-option. Our guess was Donnarumma first, and we both agreed Cranio was probably going in.
I think Sirigu gets the second one.
Sirigu is always going to be second.
He's got the experience over everybody.
He does. And Cranio's good season this season isn't going to be enough to eliminate that experience shorthand close to the Euros. Cranio probably a good looking... Sorry?
You know who I always like that I don't think ever really got enough respect? Consigli.
Yeah, no shit. He's pretty solid. But I wouldn't start him. I wouldn't
Not to start, but as like
even put him second.
As like a third, I always liked him. He always came up big in some random ass games whenever I watched. And he's been stuck on like a shit team.
Yeah. Moving on to the defenders, and this is all off the top of my head. I can't remember exactly how we predicted it, but I remember I screwed up in the first part of the video because I thought we were talking about who were taken to the World Cup because the World Cup qualifier was on that morning that we recorded. But then Raul was like, dude, we're talking about the Euros this summer, a couple months. I'm like, oh, shit, I better change it because I said Bonucci can stay home. But if you're talking about the Euros, Bonucci's got to go. He's got to go there for sure. So
I wouldn't send him. I'd send him, but I wouldn't start him. At some
who
point,
would you start then, Christian? You can start then with the defenders. Start with the centre-backs.
Me personally, I'd probably go with Acerbi and Bastoni.
That's what I said, man.
You know, like, no offense to Chiellini. No, or maybe again, maybe this is me just trying to get some of these young guys experience. Mancini and Bastoni, because these two guys are literally like 24 and 21 or 23 and 21. But you got to understand this
tournament. You can't risk that in a major tournament. Sorry.
But you know what? They're both solid defenders. You need them to start getting that. Yo, World Cup is next year in Qatar, right? Do you really want to go with possibly 37-year-old Chiellini and Bonucci at 34? I'm not. Do you want to repeat 2010 all over again with the grandpas still trying to run and get eliminated by the Kiwis? I mean, did everybody forget that New Zealand knocked out Italy in the World Cup in 2010? Why? Because we went in with a bunch of grandpas.
Yeah.
It's time to get this new age young guys going. Mancini's not a bad defender, and Bastoni's not a bad defender. They both can hold their own. I would probably try and give the young guys a run just for the simple fact that I would want them to be ready for the World Cup. You know, I get it.
I would have said, they're both good shots. I would start Bastoni, to be honest. But with Bastoni, like, for me personally, Chiellini is still good enough to go to the Euros and hold that line. In my opinion, you sort of do need at least someone experienced. I don't think Italy should go into the Euros without at least one of... no?
That would be why I was saying at first Acerbi and Bastoni, you want that one veteran guy, like 33-year-old. But in the same sense, bro, come on, like, this is the problem with Italy, and this was the same problem with the U.S. men's national team. We want to hold on to these old fucks that, excuse my language, I said I was going to stop cursing so much. We want to hold on to these older guys just because their name rings a bell like, oh, snap, why don't we just go ahead and get Buffon if that's the case? Are we ready to move on from these Chiellinis and these Bonucci's and go to the new age? Or are we going to stick with the new kids coming up? You got to make a decision. You got to decide what you want to do. Do you want to go with the kids or do you want to go with the grandpas again and get knocked out quick? What is it?
Fair point. Mario, over to you, because you might be sitting on the fence like me going, hey, you know what, Christian, it's not too bad to mix a little half and half, man.
So Christian is right about Acerbi being 33. I didn't really factor that in. I thought it was like 31 for some odd reason. So if he was able to continue his form at 34, I trust him over Bonucci, 100%. I start him.
I don't like Bonucci, bro. Never have, man. I was only taking him to this tournament for his experience, man. He's got experience at major tournament level. Chiellini has always made Bonucci look 2 or 3 tiers higher than he is.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Bonucci without Chiellini is nothing. So if you are to take that older guy, I would put Acerbi. But to put the 2 younger guys, Bastoni and Mancini, it's a solid back line. I have no problem with that, and I feel like even as young as Bastoni is, he has the experience that he needs to play for the national team, to be a starter, and become like a mainstay in the starting 11.
Yeah, going over to Christian. Look, just for the record, I'm not disputing Bastoni. For me, he's the first one on the team sheet defensive-wise. For me, it's Mancini. I do like him. I think he's a good defender. I just think he's hella clumsy and hella risky, like his idol Materazzi was a little bit. So what I would be saying to Christian before I go over to him, all well and good, man, start Mancini every single World Cup qualifier. Maybe in the Euros, it wouldn't hurt to give Acerbi or Chiellini that starting spot, man. For me, it would be Chiellini, to be honest. Yeah, fair enough. Go on, Christian.
My thing is just I don't want to get stuck in that. First of all, if you look at why Italy didn't make the last World Cup, it was because of Giorgio Chiellini's and the Bonucci still being in there. These over 30 guys almost over the hill, the Buffons, all these guys are the reason why we didn't make the last World Cup. Okay, you're at a crossroads as a country right now when it comes to football. Do you want to potentially miss another World Cup or go into the World Cup? Because I think we're going to qualify regardless and get knocked out in the first round because, again, you didn't let these guys develop. It's one of those things. What do you want to do? What do you want? And the United States has that serious problem the last few World Cup goes by bringing up people like Donovan. Donovan was like 30-something, still getting called up. Why? It's not necessary. Bastoni has that. He has that big team mentality because he's playing under Conte. He's playing at an Inter team that's literally at the forefront of the scudetto race. So I'm not worried about him mentally. It's, again, you want players like Mancini getting themselves to that level as well. And in order for him to be the future and the now, you need to start thinking about now. I wouldn't be calling these Bonucci's. I wouldn't be calling these Carolini's. These guys are done. Honestly, if you look at the team right now, they're probably the oldest players. Everybody else is either mid-20s or late 20s with a couple guys in their early 30s. You know, like I think Immobile might be one of the other ones that's like 30 or 31. But outside of that, I mean, in his position, who do you really have that's young? Moses Keane, I mean, who isn't a fair bad shout. You know, he's been doing it well at PSG. But again, me personally, I'm done with Chiellini and Bonucci. Like, it's time to change the guard. It's time to get these young guys ready for what's coming. You look at your midfield, you're going to have Locatelli, you're going to have Sensi, you're going to have Barella, you're going to have even though I don't think he had a great season, your boy over there that snubbed us for Milan, like, let's just be real.
No, not only that, bro. That's without mentioning Verratti and Jorginho as well, who are
and
two
that's exactly
brilliant
what I was
players. Like,
mentioning.
let's not underrate Jorginho over here as well. I've always been a fan of him, and I don't care what anybody says. You instruct Jorginho to do something in midfield, he'll get it done better than most. He's very, very good.
You still got your Castrovelli, you still got your Pellegrini, you know, you still got these young guys that are in their mid-20s and early 20s coming through. And it's one of those things where it's like, yo, you got to make a decision. What do you want to do? Do you still want to call up your Caputos that are like 33, 34? Or do you want to start calling your younger guys, your Chiesas, your even El Shawari, he's still 28. You know, you want to start getting your younger guys ready for this.
When it comes to Euros, man, I think because it's so soon, we're just going to go down on form and who's in form at the moment in the world. I don't think age is really a factor. Let's move on to the wingbacks and the fullbacks. The conversation's going really well. And this is the weak area. It's the weak area for Inter. It's the weak area for Italia as well. But to be honest with you, I like Florenzi. I think when it comes down to 90 minutes, this guy will bleed off the field if he has to, forever he's performing. So I don't think anybody's taken Florenzi's spot as the starting right back. In terms of the left back position, man, and pushing up, I always think Emerson has actually come to play for the Nazionale even a little bit better than he does for Chelsea. I think he comes to play, man, and I don't mind him too much. He's a little bit of a liability defensively, but I just don't see where we have the better options. I really, really don't. I'm going to go, well, you both have your hand raised to talk, so Christian, go. He looks more desperate.
All I'm going to say is...
Take your hoodie off. I think your hoodie's knocking against your headphones. Yeah, nice.
When was the last time Emerson was called for the national team?
Well, he played the last 2 games, right?
No, he didn't. He wasn't on the... I don't remember seeing him. Was he? Yeah, he was. Spinazzola.
He was there for at least one of those games.
He was. I'm tripping. He was. Spinazzola comes to mind as a player that has potential.
Spinazzola.
He came on as a Spinazzola. I forgot who came.
One of them was Emerson. I'm tripping.
There's definitely one of them. Spinazzola was probably the other one, and he'd be my second choice as well. So, in terms of fullbacks, what do you guys think? Anyone outside of Florenzi, Emerson, Palmieri, and Spinazzola getting a starting spot? It's a tough one.
No. Biraghi's still there.
I don't like Biraghi.
Di Lorenzo.
Di Lorenzo is not good either. They both
I'm
stink.
just thinking of the fullbacks we got.
Yeah, I don't think there's really much to choose from, honestly. Calabria, no, nothing special. I think the fullbacks are like the weakest part of this whole team.
Yeah, it probably is.
Because I mean, the center backs, you have the mix of the old guys and the young guys, but there's still quality there. The outside backs, you might have a starter on one side and in Florenzi, but then the other side's a question mark. And then what happens if Florenzi's knees go again? Then what do? You're stuck with Di Lorenzo, Calabria, and can't even think of a third person because Gishilio, I don't freaking know.
Yeah, he hasn't been called in a while. There was Emerson.
Oh, Damian's there.
No, he didn't get called, bro.
He didn't get called for these call-ups. Is he in the Euro squad?
X.
I mean, Mancini hasn't announced his Euro squad yet, so
That's true.
That's true.
I don't know why you wouldn't take him, bro. Look at the job he's done for us every time he stepped on the pitch, man. Relax. What about D'Ambrosio? Did you guys bring up him?
He wasn't called either. I mean, again, I'm not going to contradict myself. Even though I love D'Ambrosio, I wouldn't call him for, again, his age. He's in his 30s already. Like, you know, like, even though he's very solid there and he gets the job done, and if it was up to me, I would, but I want a new generation. It's time to stop relying on these Buffons, these Chiellinis, these Bonucci's. Get rid of them, get them out the squad, cycle them out, and start bringing in the young guys. It's the only way we're going to grow and develop as a country and a team when it comes to footy. That goes with the U.S. national team, just like Italy.
Yeah. We'll speed up the conversation on the Azzurri a little bit so that we can squeeze in as much Inter content on this Inter podcast. Midfield, we're spoilt for choice. So rather than talk about all the names on the squad, which we know are fucking awesome, there's no other way to put it. Who would be your starting three, boys? I'll start you off with mine, and Raul's was very similar. I think it was the same. For us, it was Verratti, Barella, and Jorginho. For you, like, Sensi can get in there for Jorginho as well. But for me personally, I might just take Jorginho over Sensi to start the match. What about you, Mario? We'll go with you first. Plenty to choose from.
I like that. I can't really think of anybody else in the center mid off the top of my head because I wasn't really prepared for this. But I like that. I like the way that sounds, and I don't think I have anybody that would take them out of the three that I've seen.
Technical, and then you've got the muscle of Barella as well. So what about you, Christian? No, Mario,
I would.
One of you
Mario,
go.
you got it? Or all right, me in the sake of I would go completely different. I would probably go Barella for sure. Locatelli, because I like Locatelli. He's pretty impressive. And I think he did score the last game. And I probably would put Sensi or Castrovilli. Sensi because him and Barella have a really good connection, and we've seen it work for Mancini when Sensi's been healthy. Sensi and Barella in the midfield together. And I think if you put Locatelli in there, it works.
Fair enough.
Even if you really wanted to mess around, you could even put. It's one of those. It's one of those where you can put in Tonali, Sensi, and Barella. It could work. They've done it before and it's worked. Again, I'm just going opposite of what you guys did because you guys are giving like a legitimate lineup: Barella, Jorginho, Verratti. So I would give something different just for the sake of being different from what you guys are saying.
Of course, bro. Always respect that. Attack-wise, we got our choices, man. We got our choices as well. It's just a matter of focus and turning up on the day. For me personally, man, I think I'm trusting Belotti in this national shirt more than Immobile if we're starting a game, man. And it shouldn't be like that because Immobile in Serie A is as clinical as it gets. He's fantastic. But, you know, granted he did score against Northern Ireland, but I don't know about you. We all saw him scuff his first chance right into the floor from about 6 yards out. He just pinged it into the floor. So easy for the goalkeeper. I won't be able to handle watching this bloke miss sitters in a Euro tournament on the national stage if they're put on a plate by the hard work of our midfield and our wingers as well. So for me personally, Belotti gets the nod at centre forward. Immobile, I think I said Immobile in the last video with Raul, but for some reason in the last 2 days, I've just changed my mind completely. I'm just going to go with Belotti up top. Federico Chiesa, a shining light in a shit season for Juve. Wow, what form this guy's been on this season, and I'm really excited and happy to take him to the Euros for a couple of reasons. His form is going to be amazing, and for two, I think I'll actually enjoy watching him dive around and act like a pussy for once because it'll benefit us tactically in every way, shape, and form. On the left-hand side, I actually can't even remember who I put on that left-hand side. So I might just go over to the boys to brainstorm what they think as well. I definitely had Moisekin Moisekin, I still don't know how to say his name properly, on the bench. I just think he's got that power and that attacking flair. Like, if you're going to bring him on while you're chasing a goal, defenders can't contain that for 20, 30 minutes. It's beast-like shit. Christian, what are you saying, man? Attack.
Of course, I'm going to put in Chiesa.
It was Insigne, by the way. Sorry, I just remembered. It was Insigne on the left. Insigne, Belotti, Chiesa.
Yeah, Insigne for sure. You got to love the Napoli, man. Man bleeds Napoli colors. You just got to have somebody from Naples there. That's my personal opinion. Yeah. But center forward, I'd probably go with Belotti again. Again, bringing in the younger guys as well. But I would not have an issue rotating between him and Moises Kean. Him and Moises Kean, they can rotate. Different games will be different. You know, you need a different striker for each different game because not the opponents are never the same. You know, the back lines, sometimes you have more quickness, sometimes you have slower players on that back line. So a young, quick player like him, it could benefit us. And then, of course, you're going to put Chiesa in there. So, I mean, that doesn't even need to be brought up.
Yeah. Mario, what are you talking attack-wise, man? Would you agree for the most part? Are you excited? Do you think this Italian team is really going to show some attacking flair that we haven't seen in a major tournament since any of us three have been on this planet, to be honest? We all know the Azzurri that we grew up with. What are you talking about, Christian? Don't disagree. I've never seen Italy play attacking football up until this point, ever.
I was going to say, Mancini said the best. Didn't he just come out and say something about the best Italy's in attacking Italy?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, right? So you're just Mancini gloat. Go gloat. Yeah, sorry. I thought you were going to dispute me, but you were just bragging on the Mancini.
All right. No, I'm just saying, Mancini's my boy. I got to give him a shout out.
We had to do it, and we watched the country suffer at its lowest point by not qualifying, by playing an ancient style of football, man. It was pathetic to watch.
Doesn't he have some crazy stat like he's 24 games undefeated?
Yeah.
Something like that. I can't remember the last time Italy lost a national game.
Oh, but I'm excited for this team. I mean, I feel like you have the right players in their prime at the right time. In Insigne, Chiesa's not there yet, but he's
pretty close.
He's getting there. He's like at the beginning of it. Belotti, Immobile, they're in their prime, 30 years old-ish. You know, like that's what you want in your striker. That's when they're in their peak form, scoring goals. They've been there, done that. They know what to do. They've been through it all. The midfield, it's a good mix of experience and youth at the same time because you have the experience from Jorginho playing Chelsea, Sarri, 20? He's high 20s, right? Something like that. Mid to high 20s.
Not 30 yet. 28.
Berardi's 28 in his prime. Hopefully he can stay healthy. So he's also a big utility guy because he can play on the right side and striker. Bernardeschi is probably going to be in the mix. No, you don't think so?
He will.
No.
Sorry, what?
No, I said Berratti was 28. Berardi's 26. He's 26. My bad.
So he's actually in his prime if you really think about it because he started playing 18, 19 years old at like the first team PSG and shit. So you have that. Hopefully by the World Cup, Tonali figures his his position out. So this way, you know, like maybe they even get a real coach to teach him how to freaking play. Because he's not. Let's be real. Under coaches like Gattuso and Pioli, you're not going to develop players. You're going to get players and just get what the best out of them at their current state. You're not going to make them better.
Pioli's always been a journeyman. So for me personally, I've never looked at him as a coach to develop players. Honestly, I think Tonali's regressed under Milan. I think he's fallen down the pecking order. He's not doing as much as he should be. That's why he hasn't been caught up lately. That's a perfect reason. Gattuso, again, for the Napoli team he has now, there's no one for him to really develop except for that one kid, the one that Mario doesn't like. Osimhen, yeah. Outside of that,
he's got Lozano. He's got Di Lorenzo's also young. Meret is still a young goalkeeper. So I mean, the youth is there. It's
Di
not really.
Lorenzo's 27 though, bro. He's not young. That I don't consider that a young talent. Again, with Chucky Lozano, I give him credit. Chucky Lozano, what he's done with that player has been, it's been fantastic because what's my boy? What happened?
He's 27 years old.
I told you.
Fuck that guy. I'm out on him. He's trash. I mean, I know he's trash, but now there's no hope for him. I'm here thinking he's freaking 23, 22, because the same thing happened with Malqui over there. They all thought he was 17 because he had blonde hair. Turns out he's fucking 30. Bitch.
Yeah. So back to what I was saying though is Capello couldn't even get the best out of Chucky Lozano. So just to give Gattuso his credit. I know I've always sat there and said he's not a bad coach on here, but you know he's done his job, and I think
the team stinks. The team stinks.
Yeah. That's just what
to be honest, I don't hear anybody in the world bashing Gattuso. It seems like there's this internal conflict that has sort of made the mind up of everybody, because I don't see any Napoli fan, any rival fan, any pundit, anyone unless Mario can cross-reference that, almost anyone in the world saying Gattuso should be out of there.
Napoli for a good month wanted Gattuso gone.
Yeah.
They I don't want to say everybody, because there's always the minority of few people that have sense and like a thought process behind what goes on in a club as to why, you know, like a coach should or shouldn't get fired. But a good amount, like if you go on Far From Vesuvius, Raffan, all those Napoli things that I talk to those guys on like a daily basis. I'm in a Napoli chat. Literally like 3/4 of the chat was like, Gattuso should be fired. Gattuso out. Gattuso can't stay long. This is Gattuso's last game. Gattuso has to prove a point in this game if he wins. If he loses, this and that. And, you know, I'm just like, yo, like...
So it doesn't sound like too different from what Inter fans behave like 98% of the time as well. Conte's just changed that in the last 9 months.
Exactly. So they're going through what we went through.
I just don't think Gattuso is a bad coach. Honestly, he's just had a bad team, or he's had a lot of players out on COVID. You know, he's had his issues at the wrong time pretty much. So, I mean, me personally, I don't think he's a bad coach. I think Pioli's a bad coach in terms of, like, developing players. He's just a journeyman that got lucky.
I think Gattuso can develop players to a certain way. But but look at how this team is structured. The youth is in the attack, right? Mm-hmm. Osimhen, Lozano, and there's one more I'm forgetting somewhere. Like Elmas, like these creative attacking players. Zielinski, he's older, but he's finally found his position in that team. But Osimhen,
they still got Politano.
They have Politano, exactly. They have these players, attacking players that you can develop into great players. But Gattuso's a defensive mid, hardworking, gritty, tackling, like, you know, like he's not a forward. He's
not going to build your technical skills. He's going to build more of your tactical skills.
He's going to teach you how to work hard. He's going to teach you how to defend, how to tactically be aware. But to develop Osimhen as a striker, I'm out on it. You spend $80 million on a striker and a coach that doesn't really know how to attack. You spend $40 million on Lozano. He finally started to get it together, but I think that's because he started to get playing time on a consistent basis. Even though he's played out of position because he can't play on the left side because you're not going to take Insigne out of that spot.
Nah.
So he has to play on the right side, and he finally figured it out a year later. But Osimhen, I find it really, really hard under Gattuso to get the most out of him because Napoli fans are expecting this is a top. I will quote you on 97% of Napoli fans. He's a top 10 striker once he gets going, and I'm like, okay, but he's young and he needs to grow. That's my favorite part. Once you say that, that means he's not good enough to play at the first team level. He's not good enough to make an impact immediately. Why do you spend $80 million on a player that's not going to immediately impact your team?
Lozano, money.
Lozano, $40 million. Okay, it's a lot, but in today's climate, it's like
accurate.
It's fine. You're not taking that crazy risk. $80 million. It's not what Osimhen wanted, and it's not the player value, I guess, but that's what they paid. And when you pay $80 million, just give me 1 second on this. When you pay $80 million for a player, you have to compare him to other players in that salary range or the transfer range, and you have to understand the whole scheme of things. You get to say, "Oh, we wanted him. We paid $80 million." Okay, Lukaku was $80 million. He scores 30 goals a year. Haaland came up from Dortmund's academy, worth $80 million. He's scoring goals every fucking week in bunches. Osimhen, he scores once every 4 games if he's lucky. If he's playing, you don't spend that much money and come up with a million excuses. He's hurt. He's got COVID. He's this. He's young. He's got to go. You pay $80 million. The guy from the get-go has to make a difference on the freaking team. I gotta stop talking Napoli because I can go on.
I personally
did Haaland actually come up in the Dortmund academy, or wasn't he bought from somewhere else though?
He was by. I want to say it was from Red Bulls, wasn't it? Salzburg.
I think so. Salzburg. Yeah.
How much they pay for
Red Bull Salzburg. They didn't pay much, bro. They paid like maybe 40.
They bought Haaland for 40, knowing well and truly, like every other Dortmund striker and forward, he was going to score goals up the arse. Not only that, he's going to make it look better because he's taller than everybody else. He just looks bigger than everybody else. He plays like Lukaku does pretty much, and he's just got that massive, massive threat and goal effect. It was so easy for Dortmund to know, this is a profit waiting to happen. Yeah. I don't think even Dortmund expected it to get to this whole 160, 180 rumored sort of fees that are coming out. Now, Mario's agreeing with me, but I reckon they bought him for 40 knowing, this is the easiest 80 million flip we're ever going to make in our life. They just didn't expect it to be like this. Where's he going?
Yeah. So one quick thing with what Mario said about Osimhen. Remember, Napoli spending 80 million is like Inter spending 160 because they're not as a big of a club. And their finances have never been there. And when the fuck have you heard Napoli spend more than 30 million on a player except for Azzurri? All right. Now to Haaland, I think he's going to Man City.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. So just to correct myself real quick. So minus Haaland, but still, Haaland, maybe he didn't come up from the Dortmund system. Fine, I'm wrong, but they paid 40 million and the guy's scoring in bunches. He's a top 10 striker. He's a top 10 striker, and he's almost
top
the same
5.
Exactly, he's up there.
Top 3.
Easy top 3 in my opinion.
Who do we have? Lewandowski.
I reckon he's Haaland.
Haaland. We have like Aguero or some shit. I don't even know.
No. I've told you my top 3 for a while. I've told you top 3 is Lukaku, Haaland, and Lewandowski.
Yeah,
all right. There's no better striker than those 3 guys in Europe right now. Fucking pull somebody that's better than those 3 for me right now. You can't do it. Don't even sit there and try and tell me Harry Kane. Don't even try to talk Harry Kane to me being better than Lukaku. You're just
No,
on crack.
He's like top 10. He's top 10 though. He's up there.
He's top 10, but he's not better than Lukaku right now.
No shot. You even have Zlatan ahead of freaking some of these guys.
We just got to give it to the stats, man. Like, look at those stats and look at their form as well. They score against every single opponent, the strikers that we just mentioned as well. They've proven it in some big games, contrary to what fans say. And, you know, they're just all over the place. Not only that, for their national team as well. They boss out. We all saw Lukaku's goal a day ago. It was really, really nice. Christian wants to speak. Keep it really short, bro, because we're 40 minutes in and we have not spoken
We're good. We're good. Listen. If anybody wants to deny my Lukaku's top 3 in the world, if you haven't been watching the news lately, Man City's been tied to him. Real Madrid's been tied to him. Barcelona's been tied to him. PSG's been tied to him. Even Man U's talking about trying to get him back. So
I think it's Chelsea. Chelsea.
So Man U was in the conversation because they were saying that if Inter can't pay the money that they owe for his transfer, they'd like to get him back at Man U. So that's 5. And then Chelsea, we'll go with Chelsea just to throw it in there for giggles. That's 6 of the world's top clubs that are talking about buying Lukaku, even though I don't think he's going to leave, and this is just rumors, but 6 of the world's top clubs talking about Lukaku. So that tells you he's definitely in that conversation.
The only way Romelu Lukaku leaves is if Antonio Conte leaves. That is the be-all and end-all of the entire conversation. So, Mario, anything to add about Romelu Lukaku before we move on?
It's not really about Lukaku himself, but like Christian just said, there's 6 major teams fighting for Lukaku at the moment. And then you have... I'm going to go back to the Napoli fans over here because I love them. You have... we could sell Koulibaly to anybody in the world for $100 million. I'm like, okay, so you have the top 6 teams who need a striker. One of them is going to buy Lukaku, let's say, or Lukaku-esque, in that range for, I don't know, absurd amount, $70 million. Where's the rest of this money going to for a center back that's no longer one of the best in the world? I'm like, okay, you got to understand it's COVID. So you have to temper your expectations a little bit further down. So that $100 million that De Laurentiis wanted, maybe towards 60.
Bro, even that, man. I think that boat sailed a long time ago on Koulibaly.
That's what I'm saying.
Like 40. I was going to say 42, Christian. 40 is going to be my price.
In today's, I think 40 is fair. 60 if they are desperate. If they're desperate for a center back, because De Laurentiis is going to be annoying.
I'm sorry, Napoli, but if you're desperate to sell him, the most you're going to get is 40, and that'll be from a Man City. In the current climate, Barcelona is having financial issues.
Exactly.
PSG has other goals. They're not looking at center backs, so they're out.
Exactly.
Chelsea's not spending money. Arsenal's not spending money. The only teams you're looking at and you're hoping will spend money is Man City. And they're going to have no competition for Koulibaly. So they're going to say 40 mil, take it or leave it, or we'll go and get somebody else.
Maybe United. But that's about it. There's really, I'm like, everyone's like,
there's no market.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, they're naming all these rich teams. I'm like, who has the actual money and need for a center back right now? You have to put it into perspective. But they're so freaking stupid sometimes that they're just like, everybody will pay $100 million for Koulibaly. I'm a Napoli fan. I'm the biggest Napoli fan in the world. When in reality, I'm the biggest Napoli fan.
You spend too much time on those chats, bro. I can see it's irked you just a little bit, man.
Talk more Inter now. It
irks you. It irks you like Inter fans trying to tell me that Lukaku is not world class and that Icardi is a better striker than Lukaku.
Oh my God.
Bro. But let's talk a little bit more about what's going on at the moment. And it's good that we had this conversation, boys, because to be honest, there isn't much going on with Inter at all besides the fact that we're waiting to hear about a couple of COVID test results. Handanovic is A-okay to return, which is good. What's wrong?
What do you mean there's not big stuff going on? Today at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and 4 more hours, 12 p.m. Milan time, we're getting a new logo. What do you mean? We're getting a new logo and a new fourth kit.
Yeah. I was going to say...
What do you mean?
Always Mr. Optimistic man about everything.
I was going to say,
we're getting a fourth kit.
You know shit's weird when there's no drama at Inter.
Listen, we're getting a fourth kit that nobody wants, but I'm going to buy because it's just like my 1995 jersey that was the third kit that I still have.
I kind of fuck with it.
I don't think it's that bad. I just think it's weird. I don't think it's bad.
Very strange. That's what I like about it.
I got some kicks that I can match with that, so I'm good.
Yeah. I mean, I got the freaking the 20th anniversary Nike one. If that thing's not weird, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Oh, I think also, Anthony, you noticed that I told you before that all the talk about Inter being sold and Inter not owing all this money will slowly disappear. When's the last time you heard about that?
That's interesting you say that, but like, what do you mean it's just going to disappear? Do you think that the media really over-exaggerated our detrimental situation because we really are just on top of the league, and that's what they're good at doing?
Listen, unless you're Juve, you're going to be scrutinized by the media for being on top of the league, and they're going to try and destabilize you somehow, some way. When the mayor of Milan came out and said that until we get clarity from Inter, we're not going to build a stadium. And then Zhang and them come out and they say, yo, like, don't disrespect the team. We have everything under control. Notice how everybody quietly backed up from saying stuff about Inter because they know what can come out and happen is a defamation lawsuit. So, of course, they're just going to stop writing stuff and stop writing nonsense because that's the best thing Inter likes to do lately is when certain newspapers, Correo dello Sport, Tutto Sport, and stuff like that, start writing stuff like that, hey, it's okay. We'll see you in court and sue you for money.
Yeah, fair enough, bro. In terms of where we're going this season, we're about to move forward to the Bologna fixture, which I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about because it will be Inter's first game in over 3 weeks as a team. Our Sassuolo match was postponed, which will be played on April 7th, 6:45 a.m. for me, which means it's if I'm not mistaken,
2:45.
Evening game for you guys, right?
2:45 p.m. most likely.
Okay, so afternoon game for you guys. Good stuff. I expect us to come out all guns blazing. I would understand if the team's a little fatigued and sloppy, but from what we've seen of our players on international duty who've played minutes, they've all actually played well. I've been quietly monitoring their performances. Brozovic and Perisic were integral to Croatia. But then again, there were some other pros from other things, like Christian Eriksen, for example, has had limited minutes for Denmark, which I'm also okay with because I don't want him fatigued. I want him fresh for this Inter game as well. So I guess you can just take the positives all around. So first of all, I guess the first question I'm asking is, how do you boys think we'll go against Bologna? Do you think we're going to be able to get the victory? And in terms of our players coming back from international duty, do you expect anybody to be in better form, worse form? How do you think the reaction is going to be going back all together? And we'll go to you first, Christian.
Me personally, I think the 3 weeks, I think we should have played the Sassuolo game because like like Conte said, my bad, I have the Mancini talk in my head. But like Conte said, it would have been better. We're on 8-game win streak. That would have been number 9. I think we would have kept rolling regardless. I think we beat Bologna, and I think we go on another win streak, and we just finish off the season. But win against Bologna and then Sassuolo really puts Juve under pressure, and it's been showing this season that when they're under pressure, they're going to crack. Mario, what do you think?
I think it's annoying that we had to take the break. We were in top form. There was nobody stopping us, and then once you get these little international breaks, it just kind of kills the vibe sometimes. I think Bologna should be a win. I don't have any problems with it, but it might be a little bit slow out the gates because Mihailovic always gives us a rough time.
Didn't we beat him 3-1?
Yeah, something like that. But he usually gives us a tough time more often than not. So I don't count his team out because they are kind of weird. I think it's a win regardless, but I still put some respect on them.
I'm gonna go and say 3-1 win. Again, I think we just continue strolling on and steamrolling City A. Again, if it wasn't Conte, if this was any other coach, I would already be saying, when are we going to lose Scudetto, and that's it. But with a coach like Conte, I think we beat Bologna, Sassuolo, Cagliari, and then we put everybody on notice. And then I think you're going to start seeing more of the Milans and the Juve start dropping those points. And again, I told Anthony this before. I think we're going to finish over 90. Mario, didn't I say it was like 91 or 92? What's going to be our final point tally? Isn't that what I said?
Up there. Because I said we had, at the time, I think we had a possible 98. 98. That's without dropping any points at all. But I think we finish over 90. Probably, I could see 93, something like that. 94. If I look at the exact schedule, I can probably get a little bit better exact number.
I think it's going to be 92 or 94.
Something like that, yeah.
I was saying this in a couple of group chats this week. If we can beat Bologna, Sassuolo, and Cagliari, that's it. It's game. That's it, bro. Like, the Napoli game would be irrelevant in my opinion, because I'm pretty sure in 2 match days' time, Milan have to play Lazio and Atalanta or something like that.
And they still play Juve.
And they have to play Juve. And then Juve before that have to play Atalanta as well, not to mention Napoli. So our next 3 games are Bologna, Sassuolo, Cagliari. Let's just get it done, man. Let's get it done. We can really get 9 points out of 9 in these next 3. It just starts here. I think if we can win this Bologna fixture, it's all guns blazing from here, man. We just got to hope that we don't have any injuries or COVID positive tests coming back. But even then, Christian, would you say we've got personnel ready to step it up in all departments, ready to go?
Yeah, so, it's interesting because I wanted to touch on this as well. I remember earlier people were talking about how Man City came out and said that Agüero's officially leaving. Right now, if you look at our strike force, we have Alexis, Lukaku, and Lautaro. Wouldn't it be nice to go after Agüero and, again, instead of going after Muriel, and that's another thing going into the whole media thing about how we're so broke, but yet all of a sudden we're ready to splash 30 mil on Muriel and also on a backup keeper being Musso to take Handanovich's spot. I don't think the club's in that bad financial aspects if we're already talking about that in the transfer window. So that being said, I'm probably going to sit there and say we should get Agüero just to sit there and have 4 strikers. Because right now, if Lautaro goes down, all you have is Alexis. Lukaku goes down, again, all you have is Alexis, which is fine, but you want that 4th striker because next season, all right, you win Scudetto, now it's time to start showing up in Europe. You can't do it with 3 strikers in Europe. You need the 4th. That will finally give us the depth.
I think if he would take a small wage cut, not a big one, Marotta would entertain the idea because it's a free transfer, meaning I think his wage at the moment is 12 million euro a season. We can't pay that as a club. It is 12 million, Christian. I'm pretty sure it is.
I'd give him 7 mil. I'd give him what I gave Alexis. If we don't got to pay no transfer fee, 7 mil. Take 7 mil. If we're not paying a transfer fee, here's 7 mil. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
If there's no better offer on the table, and if he likes the idea of playing for Inter, for playing with Alexis, for playing under Zanetti, whatever the case may be, it's enticing. You're gonna be playing with Lukaku, one of the best strikers in the world, and you're gonna be in and out of that lineup. You might even be in the lineup every week if Lautaro, gets hurt, doesn't figure shit out, gets in a slump. He's gonna be the first person before Alexis, if anything.
Listen. Agüero, for his age and his list of injuries lately, for him to go to Inter is pretty much like, all right, bro, you're at the end of your career. Here's a nice little 7 mil payday. You're going to a team that won Scudetto. You're going to a team that can easily make the quarters or at least around the 16 in champions with a better draw being in pot 1 now. So you're setting yourself up for at least a decent season. You're not going to go to a team like Juve that's quote unquote rebuilding and in a transition phase where Ronaldo might not be there next season. And if he is, that means that they're not getting him no help.
That's it. Well said. I never even thought about it like that. If Aguero's going to go to Juve, it means Ronaldo's out, which means Aguero isn't an adequate replacement for Ronaldo because as good as Aguero is, Ronaldo's fitness is quite bloody impressive in case people in the world haven't noticed, man. You can't really replace that level of fitness at his age and his tenacity, let alone Aguero with the injuries that you just said. And if they were to sign Aguero, that's a 7 million, 8 million, 9 million, 12 million dead wage. They're not doing that.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. If Aguero goes to Juve, he's getting 12 mil. He's going to get the exact wage he had at Man City. And the reason is because Ronaldo's making 30. So if you sell Ronaldo, well, you were giving Ronaldo 30, you're giving me 12. That's still saving you about 18 mil. So take it or leave it. But at Inter, he doesn't have that type of negotiation power because, again, our highest payer is probably Alexis. Rightfully so. You know, he saved us a lot of money by us not having to pay the 20 mil to Man United. So I'm going to give you the 7 mil. It is
Alexis, especially in his last 4 or 5 games, has been the most skilled player on the Inter park. He has changed games. He has shaped games. He's got 1 goal and 3 assists in the 4 games. He has won games. That ball for Lautaro was beautiful. The link up with Lukaku this season has been fantastic. Alexis Sanchez is staying, and I love him, bro. And I'm so happy that he's on our team.
And I would love to bring Aguero into the mix again. And when you start looking at his suitors, okay, you look at Barca. What does Barca offer you? Barca doesn't offer you much right now because Messi is probably going to take your spot at Man City. Man City already made it clear they're not re-signing you. So now you're looking at your options at, okay, where can I go and get a decent payday and kind of leave on a high note? Napoli. Go to Juve and get 12 million, but Ronaldo's not going to be there. So you're still going to be in a transition phase. You're probably not going to win a trophy next season because, hey, I hate to break it to the Juve fans. I think Inter's about to win maybe Scudetto the next 2 years, not including this one. If Conte stays, Inter's going to win 2 to 3 Scudettos with Conte. If Conte stays, he's going to bring on exactly what he did at Juve. He's setting up the team for the next 3 to 5 years. All right. As long as you keep Conte there and you keep the stability in the club, you can bring in your players like Aguero. You know, you're not going to see no other player come to Inter for Spalletti. Lukaku's not coming for Spalletti. Maybe a Mancini he'll come, but for someone like Conte, Lukaku's coming. You get your Agueros, you get your Alexis Sanchez. The team's winning Scudetto this season, potentially setting up for a good run in the Champions League next season because we're going to be in pot 1. Again, Mario made this very clear before. You can't win in Europe till you win your league. So that's just what it is.
I agree, bro. Honestly, I would agree. And we can just thank that we have that pulling power with Conte since he's come to the club to be able to sign players of that caliber. So in terms of that Bologna game, which I had to dip out for a second, I do think that we keep going full steam ahead. I'm going to predict a 2-0 victory. Quiet game for Bologna. Scrappy game from us, but just like taking one of the opportunities or 2 of the opportunities that we get. Goal for Lukaku, goal for Lautaro as well. Very nice to not have the Latino crew of Inter have to travel for international duty. It was like a small little insurance blanket underneath the club. Like, hey, in case anything fucks up or goes wrong, just remember, we've got that Latino connection here. That is fit and ready to go. Alexis is ready to go. Lautaro is ready to go. Arturo Vidal, I'm pretty sure he'd be very close to recovered from that injury. Christian, can you shed any light on that, man? Because I feel like that guy's ready to go. And we might see him ready to go.
They said he was only going to be 30 days out, so he should be coming back soon. It's been about a month. Now the thing is just getting him back to fitness level. That's just all it is. Again,
I reckon he's still got a part to play in this season, bro. He's still going to play some minutes, and we're still going to see what we need to see from Arturo.
He's the first one off the bench.
Mario, would you agree?
Yeah, Vidal's easily first person off the bench, like Christian just said. He's gonna be starting games every now and then, just as a rotation, because the season is still it's not over yet. So he's gonna have to rotate. You know, there's gonna be an injury or two, so someone's gonna have a knock. Something's gonna get sick. Something. So he's gonna be in and out. I think he scored another goal or two, honestly. And we have a very favorable matchup for the next 3 or 4 weeks. So 3 weeks, and so I don't see why not throw him in there for a game. He doesn't really. I mean, he's not great, but he doesn't like kill us. I want to say, and I'm saying that like skeptically because he's not like the worst player in the world anymore. You know, I'd rather still prefer him over Gagliardini starting, but I think Vidal still has. What?
When you have the sort of experience and success that he's got behind him, you always prefer that over any just slightly above average midfielder that we have on our roster, man.
He has that mentality.
He does. He can put in a really good shift when we need him to, but consistently, don't quote me on that. You know, I don't think he's gonna go in 6 games and be the best player in 6 games or the top 3. But you know, you throw him into that mix 1-2 games, something. You know, he's not gonna kill us. Fine.
I almost trust the dude to play the bigger games, to be honest, because like we've seen him scrappy against those smaller sides, and then he came out and absolutely did Juve up the arse. To be honest, like he was so tenacious in that performance. Even before the goal, he was going into challenges left, right, and center. Christian, let's start to wrap this up, bro. You guys need some sleep.
Yeah, you got me wide awake now. I'm wired. But that being said, 11 games ago, when do you call it? What game do you think is going to be the game?
Sorry, say that again. Mario distracted me.
What game do you think will be the game? How many games left do you think will be till we win Scudetto?
Cagliari is before Napoli, right?
Yeah, but no, like I'm talking. All right, I said before we're going to win Scudetto 4 games ago. So I was saying Crotone is going to be the game where we clinch it. And then the last 4 games, well, actually, I said Sampdoria was going to be the game we clinch it, and then the last 3 games won't matter. Now I'm going to up it up one, and I'm going to say Crotone is going to be the game we win it, and season's done. It don't matter. We win Scudetto.
Crotone match day 34. Is that what you said?
Yep.
I'm the pessimist of the crew, bro. So there's still something in my head that says we can drop a couple of games and still go and play Juve at +6. And that would be risky, in my opinion. For me,
well, no, that would be game.
Sorry?
That would be it. If you're +6, that's it.
If we were +6, they would need to beat us by 3 goals, and we would need to lose to Udinese. So it would be game. When I take the emotion out of it for me, and when I look at it logically, I think Roma might be the most realistic game for me to wrap this up mathematically. And I would love that more than any other match day because I'm finna get that trophy celebration in Turin for the first time. So that would be the best result. You know. However, the more I've thought about it throughout the season, I've actually thought, Christian, your original pick of Sampdoria is quite accurate, man. I think that could be the one there. But even though it wouldn't be mathematically, as I said, you beat Bologna, you beat Sassuolo, and you beat Cagliari. No way Milan and Juve are going to look at the road ahead and go, oh, yeah, fuck, we can still win this. Hell no. It's done psychologically to that.
Let's look at our next few games. Bologna, Sassuolo, Cagliari, Napoli, Spezia, Verona at home, at our home, not in Verona, Crotone, Sampdoria. With these 8 games, I can only see us dropping against Napoli. In the same 8-game span, Juve still got to play Napoli again. They still got to play Milan again. They still got to play a couple other teams. And I see them dropping points. And I see Milan doing the same thing. And that's the main reason I'm forwarding it up to Crotone now instead of just being realistic, looking at our fixture list. The only game that really gives me worries isn't even Napoli. It's Verona. I've been saying Verona has been good. Jurix has been doing a fantastic job with them all season. And I think that would be the only game I'm worried about if I'm looking at the next 8 fixtures. You get those games, at that point, Milan and Juve's head mentality are done. You've seen this season time and time and time again that Juve's mentality, their winning mentality, is not there no more.
It's not.
I think Milan dropped points this weekend.
Who they got?
Sampdoria.
You think they're going to drop points?
I can see that on the road.
I think they dropped points in Sampdoria.
Wow, that's a big call. They could drop points.
Sampdoria has pulled some points off of of some bigger teams this year.
Pulled points off us.
That's what I'm saying. They pulled points on us. I think they pulled points on Juve. Don't quote me. I'm pretty sure Napoli for sure. So
I know Napoli. Yeah.
If I look it up right now,
I think they pulled points off Roma and maybe Atalanta. One of those two.
Atalanta, they did.
I'll tell you right now because there was a few.
Mario, what game do you think would be it? What game do you think is?
I was gonna say Roma before I said it. Yeah. Who do we got? They lost something.
That'd be so cool, bro. To clinch it Roma and to be able to take the scudetto to Agnelli's home.
Sampdoria took points off of Lazio, Atalanta, Inter, lost to Roma, Udinese, lost to Juve, lost to Lazio the second time. Yeah, so those two, I guess. So it's really not as much as I thought. But still, it's possible.
Look, all I'm saying is, looking at the next 8 fixtures, it can be done. If you win the next, at least 7 out of 8 of those, it's done deal. It's a done deal because this Milan team isn't as strong as everybody claims it to be. And this Juve's team mentally is trash. Pirlo went on and said, oh, we're going to win and put the pressure on Inter. Well, that's it. That's all I'm going to say. Done deal.
100%, bro. Yo, I've kept these boys pretty long, to be honest. It's into the early hours, and I really value their time. It turned into a good chat. I'll make sure to write in the description that we actually don't start talking about Inter until like the 40th minute. Also, I'm pretty annoyed with Mario as well. So I've gotten my dose of him for the next 3 weeks or so. Nah, just kidding. We'll have the boys on again soon. So from myself, thank you, Mario, for joining us, my bro.
Thank you. It's always fun. Now I get to go to sleep happy thinking about Osimhen.
Don't forget, I get my 5-minute rant. We're getting closer and closer to it. We're getting closer and closer to it.
For every match day lower than what you predicted, I'll give you an extra minute. So if it's Crotone, it's 6. If it's whoever's before Crotone, it's 7. For every match day it goes down, you get an extra minute. How's that trade-off? You like it?
That sounds about good.
Yeah, all right. Thanks, Christian.
Just on the record, I was the only one that was calling that at the beginning of the season. Don't let anybody else tell you different.
It'll start soon. It's not tonight. The rest not tonight. I got you that. Yo, from myself and everyone in Inter Worldwide, Forza Inter. Ciao, ragazzi.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Mario.